All right, this is the second one. March 9th, 2026, 6:47 a.m. This is number 2 of 2. Isaac. In this, my second chapter of reply to your installment, quote unquote. I have not yet reread your first 2 chapters. I intended on doing that, but at the time of writing this, I have not read your first 2 chapters or finished your third, but I will here in a moment after I finish this, my thought, concluding my first chapter. Concluding my thought in the last book I wrote. No, composition book. So, let me finish. I say let me finish for the satisfaction of my mind and the pouring out of my heart to you. Let us break bread together. Let us break bread together emotionally, cognitively, and spiritually. For me, it is as the Last Supper. Not because I am ready to die, because I am not, but I am coming to the end of my line. Precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little, until we are broken. And the fume is poured out. Fume from perfume. And the fume is poured out. There will be time for revisions. That comes from T.S. Eliot. That's why I like T.S. Eliot. That was his line. There will be time for revisions in the Rose Garden. Look, I read and replied to your text message. My writing is sloppy. I should type. You have no space for clutter and room for my notebooks laying around. But once read, I hope my thoughts and words lay around in your mind, in your heart, as yours do mine. I don't want to regurgitate history's expositions, but I was pointing to the Upanishads, the Hindu sacred treatise written in Sanskrit, 800 to 200 BC, expounding the Vedas predominantly, mystical and monastic forms. This is the advancement of a move away from dependence on the ritual alone to discourse and interpretation. About it, like Aristotle in the West here, then in about 500 BC, Buddha and Sun Tzu, and then we conclude basically in Jesus and the dualistic ethnic accent, because Judaism is ethnic. All right. As opposed to the East's continued accent on singularity. That being said, I like to keep it real. I don't like to get stuck in my head. I'm a heart man, and I try to use my noggin for transcendence, while at the same time holding the stance of the little child who raised his arm pointing to the sky, saying, "You have all that is above," and pointing down, "and all that is below. But here am I," in the middle. I didn't say that, but I said it now. And then again, these are the words of T.S. Eliot in here, and I in the middle. Here am I in the middle way, trying to get the use of words. But we start with the visual and our other 5 senses, including the extra one. The extra one now is a complete subject matter of all its own, worth a hearing, metaphorically speaking. Aldous Huxley would concur that we humans, for the most part, live our lives based on what I as an acronym, EIH. An acronym I made up to remember emotion, instinct, and habit, rather than articulated ideas. Huxley penetrated the holy grail of consciousness, especially the consciousness of the Western of our Western dualism embodied in opposites and opposing formations and concretizations. You know, when you make something abstract, you make it, okay, like God, for example, you make a form out of God or something. That would be a concretization. Concretization. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. But you can't do that to some things, legitimately. Concretization of the elemental symbols so richly expressed via poetry, metaphor, mythology, and ritual, which all point to the word behind the word, that which cannot be talked about. I was introduced to Huxley through the masterful work of Joseph Campbell, who I studied when in graduate school. That was my own extracurricular activity, as I watched his PBS series when interviewed by Bill Moyer, The Masks of God. I'm revisiting his work now as I am listening to The Doors of Perception, a complete philosophy for sleep, on YouTube. Since I've never read Brave New World by Huxley and have always wanted to, I see it on YouTube and I'm gonna listen to it soon. Huxley grapples with the same things you are. Basically the problem, which is our compounded problem, postmodernism, which I believe has led to your hyper-absurdism. So now I will continue my read of your essay. P.S. I may be thrown off guard, immobilized, and unable to speak if after I call animal control and they say I can bring Sally in today to have her put to sleep. She has approached her finish line, and even now, my tear bleed, my heart breaks, and I am crying. It's hard to say goodbye. When I get up from bed, my dogs lay in my spot, and I will forever lay in hers and theirs when I say goodbye. And don't we do the same with God when God is dead? I got a note there, Know Self by Grizzly Adams. That's like one of the first videos, the first movies I ever saw at the movie theater. I ain't gonna go into that though. The rooster who visits my chickens is now calling to the wild. It's time to wake up and prepare. It's now 8:34 a.m. They will open at 9. I am about to call. But to live, we must die. And this is elemental and perennial. PSS. Well, I'm comforting myself automatically, I suppose, up from primordial subconscious. I am remembering both Grizzly Adams and a song from Reef, Consideration. It will be all right. I looked up on YouTube to listen to it again. YouTube gave me, when I added that, I want lyrics, another different song by Dean Lewis. And upon my hearing, it seemed to me as a message so appropriate, like the falling morning dew. So this is from Dean, a guy I never heard before, Dean Lewis. And this was his song about it'll be all right. I look up from the ground to see your sad and teary eyes. You look away from me and I see there's something you're trying to hide. And I reach for your hand, but it's cold. You pull away again, and I wonder what's on your mind. And then you say to me, you made a dumb mistake. You start to tremble and your voice begins to break. You say the cigarettes counter weren't your friends. They were my mates. And I feel the color draining from my face. And my friend said, I know you love her, but it's over, mate. It doesn't matter. Put the phone away. It's never easy to say. Walk away. Let her go. And that kind of came to me, for Sally. I gotta let her go. It seemed like a personal message. But this is from Reef Consideration. I don't think kindness is a weakness. I don't have a problem with compassion. Tell me what you're thinking. Would you like to be so high? Could you give consideration to something you did not realize? Would you close your eyes to the things you did not believe? Tell me, would you be strong? Would you be the one to carry on? Half don't come here, half don't come here. So I do. It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. Well, I just fell on my sword, stabbed the dagger into my heart. I reserved high noon for the dreadful hour. I made my reservation with the animal control they ever put down. Well, I guess my opening words in composition 1, when I said my tears may drop on the page and cause my words to bleed, was a prophetic utterance unto myself, because I had the fortune of the algorithm, on YouTube, the algorithm. It played for me another song I like, Higher Vibration. But this time I sobbed in deep guttural pain, visiting once again the valley below, the valley of death and goodbyes. I hugged Sally and dried my tears. It's hard to be the orchestrator of your own Last Supper, but somebody has to do it. Letting nature take her course would be too cruel a fate for Sally girl. On the contrary, when I think about how men and women too, in days of old, would have to be the ones to put the gun to their own beloved beast and pull the trigger. Today, with other options, I could never be so strong. I'm looking for a higher vibration. Won't you give it to me, God? I just seen a preview for the movie Audacity. Perhaps that will point me to my answer. I swear to God, the algorithm does serve me. Now it's playing for me Dylan's To Ramona. Ramona, come closer. Shut softly your watery eyes. The pangs of your sadness shall pass as your senses will rise. The flowers of the city, though breath-like, get death-like at times, and there's no use in trying to deal with the dying, though I cannot explain that in line. And line is what I've been talking about. I'm thinking about Tweeter and the Monkey Man. The walls come down all the way to hell. Never saw them when they were standing, never saw them when they fell. And now finally I consider this as I listen to REM, Losing My Religion, and God says to me, I think I saw you trying. I think I saw you try. In my own catharsis. I finished your 3rd chapter. I finished it with jaw dropped open and eyes like a deer, stunned and blinded by the light. The one that gets hit by the car that he loves not, that he hates not, the car that he does not fear but he does not know. Is the deer stunned because he is frozen in fear? I don't think so. The deer is overcome and overtaken by something foreign to nature. At least the nature the deer was meant to grapple with. So are we, and so am I. I am also like the bird that eats rocks necessary for my digestion and collects twigs to build my nest. In fact, this is the process I am going through now, as I am dwelling in the shadow of death. Sally's with me, and she knows not that she is Isaac and I am Abraham, but because I read the story, cannot count on God to send the angel and stop my trembling hand, my raised arm in my hand as I prepare to kill her. No, my God is relentless, treacherous, apparently, forcing love on me so I suffer a worse pain than death itself. My God torments me and makes me suffer. My God is the unquenchable fire, the burning bush of Moses that burns without reason. If that golden calf was art or artifice, I don't know. Well, I do know. It was fake. It was absurd. It was blasphemy. And though God slay me, yet will I bow before her. Yet will I bow before my Maker. In fear, I am afraid to fear, and I am afraid to love, because my fear and my love may be for the wrong thing. I must trust, as I wrote to Arden, and not take the step toward safety, but the step toward the fire, and know it is good. Is this the middle way? Is it the sterilized way? Is it a false reality? Well, it is not for me. It is my chosen path, and I picked up stones in that path and made my fence. I took the limbs of a dead fallen branches and make my home. I build my fire, the fire of God. Look into the meaning, the ineffable meaning that can only be felt but not spoken. In this sense, I am with you. I prefer the field to the Blu-ray screen, the screen that doctors now tell us damages your eyes. Look, like Dylan Thomas, I too rage at the night and the valley of death. Like Tim Comerford, I rage against the machine. Like you, I rage against roots that are no roots at all. I continue and will continue to base my modus operandi on emotion, instinct, and habit, while finding myself the still point where the dance is, telling myself, be still, know that unobtrusive whisper after the storm, that quiet voice that come without a word, but said, I am God. I will reassert the poem I wrote working as a chaplain when my heart was formed in fire from the hospital or the madhouse. Now to my mother, whose tender affection I cannot find as I wander wounded and lost, struck down by my father, whose arrow remains in my back. Bloody and festered I bleed, each step I take longing for the breasts which nurtured me, those arms which held me, when in your bosom I once smiled. I recall the love in your tender eyes as closed in tears, amazed and frightened as opening again your face was changed. Wells of love transformed into flames of fury. God, I was scared when I felt the sound of your voice pierce through, saying, go to hell. I asked why. I thought you were a demon. I denied it was you. When I could not find you, I knew my fate had twisted. My plight became all too clear. Sustaining myself through the echo of your voice, running away from you, I ran to you. My searchings are the searchings of a lonesome-hearted father, whose daughter will never return. The woman who can no longer offer her body as wife or mother. The young teen whose future is scarred because the gods of glass and steel ripped and cut, lacerating and breaking forever the dreams of what could have been. The lives and the loves of the abandoned, forsaken, refugee lone criers, struggling in a bed, haunted by their destiny, bound by the words, go and suffer some more. Lord, these are your children. They ask us to be there. I know your way is perfect and past my understanding. You both wound and heal in your time. Wound me in their pain. Come and prepare me among the afflicted and frightened fellowship of children, both young and old. And Jesus said, inasmuch as ye have done it to the least of these, ye have done it unto me. And a prayer I wrote when I worked as a substitute teacher, and art should be approached as prayer. And these are all in reference, of course, to stuff you wrote, like art. Today, I substitute for an art teacher. I learned about clay. I learned how to make books with bindings. I learned about the origins of art. I learned about mixing colors and the rules involved in artistic design. Art is not without discipline. Art is not without design. It is not without purpose. I'm thinking of the way of art and the artist, the design, the work, the discipline, the involvement. I'm thinking about my art. It is nothing much, but I don't want it scoffed at. I don't want it scorned. Not my work, not my effort, my design, my involvement. It's part of me. I'm thinking about your art, God, your art, your creation. Do I respect your creation, Lord? Do I? Without question, we humans judge, we misjudge, condemn, falsify, and even belittle your artwork in others. We treat ourselves and others contemptuously. We demonstrate disregard, but why? We do it to others because we do it to you. If we appreciate, respected, and understood your work, perhaps we could see it better in others. God, help us to appreciate art. Help us to pray. And then based again on what you wrote, in line with what you wrote. This is in line with what you wrote. And another poem prayer I wrote. No te conformis. No te conformis. I can't remember Spanish much anymore, but no te conformis nunca por menos que lo measure. I ask, what does that mean? But I will tell you a secret. First, it means do not conform for the worst, but for the better. I asked 2 classes of students what this banner meant. The dependent neither knew the meaning nor the translation. They did not know, but deferred to those who did. The independent class gave me a meaning. It means like don't take drugs and play sports. I had to push them for the translation. They assured me their meaning, their interpretation was sufficient for me. What does Paul mean when writing to the Romans he says, be not conformed, but be transformed? Does he mean rise up above the assumed meanings, the sufficient interpretation, and know the meanings, know the truth for oneself, test it and prove it? Isn't the world like a mixture of my independent and dependent classes of students, the ones in the know and the ones not in the know who are being satisfied with conventional answers? If life cannot be reduced to single viewpoints, then perhaps God, your call is not to conformity, but to transformity. Give me the spirit of power and love to encourage transformation. Gather us into the full unity and diversity of an independent point of view. And then again, I think of Dylan Thomas. We all go into the dark, and I add, the darkness of God, where we gather straws for baby manger's bed. Moreover, the night belongs to lovers, as in concord between man and woman, so in concord between humanity and God. The night belongs to lovers. Okay, that's a song. And I'm playing on the night and love, as compared, like I'm saying this as about God, not just about a woman. This is from 10,000 Maniacs, Because of the Night. Take me now, baby, here as I am. Hold me close and try to understand. Desire is hunger. It's the fire I breathe. Love is a banquet on which we feed. Come on now, try and understand the way I feel under your command. Take my hand as the sun descends. They can't hurt you now. They can't hurt you now. Can't hurt you now. Because the night belongs to lovers. Because the night belongs to us. Because the night belongs to lovers. Because the night belongs to us. I have a doubt, baby, when I'm alone. Love is a ring, a telephone. Love is an angel disguised as lust. Here in our beds until the morning comes. Come on now, try and understand the way I feel under your command. Take my hand as the sun descends. Well, in my life I stand alone, like William Blake. Some people have one captain, I have four. Jesus Christ, the Buddha, Sun Tzu, and science. In regard to man, to the man Christ Jesus, I found alliance with Blake, the everlasting gospel. The vision of Christ that thou dost see is my vision's greatest enemy. Thine has a great hook nose like thine. Mine has a snub nose like mine. Thine is a friend to all mankind. Mine speaks in parable to the blind. Thine loves the same world that mine hates. Thy heaven doors are my hell gates. Socrates taught what Miletus loathed as a nation's bitterest curse, and Caiaphas was in his own mind a benefactor to all mankind. Both read the Bible day and night, but thou readest black where I read white. In this time of make-believe, religious war, greed, and absurdity, that's my take. Love, Dad. All right, that's it. Bye.